And hello everyone, welcome to another competitive tourney. This is my 8th this year, the 8th regular tournament that is. Of course, I've done a bunch of other tournaments besides that, but we'll get started right away. We're not going to waste any time. It's a little past the start time, but it's not a huge deal. And the first fight is actually Plebeian versus Pecola, which is exciting. And while we wait for both of them, I will get into commentator talks. I see Maestro, Chernobyl, and Eve are doing spars right now. Hopefully Eve and Chernobyl will join last minute. But we've got a nice turnout as it is already, so not the end of the world if they can't. Peckle is here, Plebeian is here. Okay, and let me just make sure Peckle has got keyboard. He does. Plebeian, you'll take the left side. Peckle, you'll take the right. And you guys know the drill. It's double elimination. So 7 flags, best of 3. And that goes for the losers bracket as well, with how I run it. Do I mean to be muted on Discord? No, I don't. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, Plebeian on the left, as I said. Peckle on the right. That should all be fixed now. Connor against Zara. Oh, if anyone wants to join me to commentate, by the way, feel free. We're just gonna jump into the action regardless, though. Starting out with a bang here, Plebeian against Peckla. Launches swings. Plebeian taking that first flag. And I'll actually be fighting Jihadi after this, which would be exciting. Jihadi was able to join last minute. So we have 10 participants total. Peckla trying to apply lots of pressure there. Good job with the backdash against that push. Peckla says I can push as well. And does land a hit. No kill though. Stab attempt by Plebeian. Plebeian tries a grab or a push. Doesn't quite land it. A stab there. Bunch of cuts. Beats the blade down. And Plebeian is doing a great job of finding openings of Zara, which I believe can be actually difficult against some of the shield characters if you're not using the right moves. Peckla of a London stab after a side stab, which was really smart. Scores his first flag. There's the second flag. Side step. Just as Plebeian moves in for an attack. There's a stab over the shield. Big cut. Beats the blade down. And there's another one. Zara has some moves that actually do a great job of threatening the shield characters. And actually, having his blade beat, for Connor, having his blade beat is worse than being pushed. So something Pico has to watch out for. Nice push, though, with the shield. False edge cut doesn't land. Plebeian does land a cut of his own. bit of an exchange there. Pekla landing a strike. There's another strike. Beating Plebeian to the punch there. Stab attempt coming under. But Plebeian takes that flag. Stab over top. Plebeian needs 2 more. Pekla's been fighting well, but just a little bit behind this whole fight, I would say. Stab attempt, that nearly landed. I think the basket saved Pekla there. And he does land a hit. There's another hit. Plebeian tried to land a push, but he got sidestepped. That is the risk with trying a push, is that you're kind of locked in. Nice push from Pekla. Upcut there doesn't quite land. Snap cut. Very even now. Plebeian isn't quite able to capitalize on that blade beat. And Pekla with a perfect sidestep, managing to get out of the way of that big swing that Plebeian tried. Plebeian feinting it this time. Pekla doing some feints. High guard from Pekla. Switches. Now he goes for a high guard cut again. Plebeian spending a lot of stamina. Pekla might try to capitalize. He does not, though, because Plebeian recovers. And so what he's trying to do now is I think he's trying to force Plebeian to attack, to expend more of that stamina, and then pounce at a more opportune time. High guard cut. And actually, no, he goes for the sidestep eventually, finding the opportunity. That is a win for Pekla, but again, best of 3, so we're not done yet. Just gonna switch the names, and then we'll be switching sides. Alright, switch sides. And then after this round, of course, I'll be fighting Jihadi, which is exciting. Pekla switches characters, going for Yendrik, which is a brave pick. Flexing a little bit because he's very knowledgeable with a lot of characters. Stab attempt barely missed. Pekla with balls of steel. But yeah, that time it lands. Don't want to get too cocky there. There's another stab. Plebeian knows this matchup fairly well, I think. Low guard from Plebeian, but it's a trap. There's another use of that stab. And again, Pekla doesn't have an answer for it, it looks like. This time an active swing there is able to deflect the stab, but Plebeian is able to follow it up. There's another stab. Very dominant performance. Perhaps this switch was a big mistake. There's a stab. Plebeian needs 1 more. Very smart. You gotta use the best tools you have, and Yendrik doesn't have much of a guard, so a stab is a really good idea. But Pekla is able to score a point. There's another point for Pekla. It's definitely not a flawless win, but we'll see if Plebeian is able to avoid choking it. Oh, there it is. Back Y. Very hard for Yendrik to deal with such a big swing. Making it 1-1. We will switch once more, just switching the names. Alright, go ahead. Back to Zera. Marta this time for Pekla. Pekla doing a second switch, I should say. But using a 3rd character. Let's see what Marta can do. This is a matchup Marta can win, but the fact that Zera has such a big sword does present some problems. And Zera does have good passive protection against thrust, so. Stab attempt. Low guard from Plebeian into a stab. Backwise. Stab again, sidestep beautifully by Pekla. Pekla knows how to avoid it. It's probably tougher to avoid with Yendrik because Yendrik's sidestep game is not that great. Marto's, on the other hand, is pretty solid. Just not explosive. But it doesn't really need to be, oftentimes. Give me longsword, yes my lord, Victor says. So I'm sure Victor's rooting for Plebeian here, who is a longsword player. Of the German tradition too, so actually it's closer to the style you see in Kingdom Come Deliverance than Isabella's, despite the drunken style. Obviously, we don't see a lot of drunken fencing in Kingdom Come Deliverance unless you drink a bunch, but it doesn't quite behave like this. Probably how Godwin fights when he's drunk. Out of measure, swings there. Stab. Bias. Understandable, yeah. Going low. Doesn't quite land it. They're both low on stamina. It's been a bit of a brawl this flag. And a much more disputed fight than the previous one. Dips under and lands a nice stab before Plebeian can land an attack of his own. Pekla's doing a great job with Marta. Sidestep cut there, just getting a little bit of chip damage. Rapier's not particularly good at cutting, but because Plebeian was long guarding or something, it was still able to land. But Plebeian secures a flag. You had a dream that you were Godwin last night. Wow. That's wild. Sidestep there, but does take a hit from the back. Why, I assume? Stab over top. Plebeian making a nice comeback. And a good exchange. Feints there from Pekla. Pekla gets a hit with the feint somehow, despite canceling the attack. I did that in one of my recent fights, by the way, with the corkscrew. There's one instance I saw where Jan did it. He did not completely follow through with the attack, but still did full damage. Sidesteps from Pekla, a bunch of hits. I don't think the follow-up was the best, though. I think Pekla needed to keep going to the side with those stabs. But that was a clean hit. A lot of pressure here because if you lose, you're not out of the tournament at this point, but you end up in the loser's bracket right from the get-go, which isn't a good place to be. But that's a stab from Plebeian. That is precisely where Pekla will end up being, but that was quite a disputed final round there. Good game, guys, to start that off. Now Jihadi will be fighting me. Oh, Maestor's fighting Venator for the first fight. Venator humble as always, though. Gotta like that. I'm on the left to start. Jihadi will be on the right. And that will conclude round 1, because actually most of our fights are in round 2. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Let's see what Jihadi does. Hassan, interesting. Thinking about Hassan, goes with Hassan. Good luck. Definitely a fitting character for him. I'm just surprised. He usually plays his shields. Plays shields. Oh, that was unfortunate. Had stamina for the dash, but not the cut. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing the road construction in the background. I know the sensitivity on this mic is not that high, so you probably don't, but I apologize if you're hearing a little bit of that. It's certainly clearer for me. Okay, that's a win for me. Let's see if Jihadi makes a switch or not. No pressure, of course. I get it if you're trying to practice with a new character. This is one of the best ways to do it. Even if it means you're losing sometimes, it's a very good way of doing it. Yeah, I'm going to Marina. That makes sense. Probably his best character. Let's see what happens now. Alright, GG. You are not eliminated, of course. You're just in the loser's bracket for now. We'll get back to you once we complete it, because we have to now complete the second round. We got a bunch of fights to do. And the first one will actually be Maestro against Venator, according to the order. So we'll do that one first. That's a fight I think a lot of us are pumped for. Maybe less so Maestro and Venator, because they both actually seem not super confident in their ability to win this one at the same time, so. Venator just doesn't feel like he's been in his best form lately. That's not really a secret. He's talked about that before. And Maestro, of course, not happy with having to fight Venator right away because he has such a legendary reputation. And for good reason, too. Venator has just been killing it lately. But I think the competition has gotten a lot more fierce lately. So I would suggest to Venator that's more so what's going on, not that he's become weaker. I think he's still in good shape. But there's a lot of killers in these tournaments lately. Maestro on the left, Venator on the right. Alright. But let's see what characters they pick. It's actually a little up in the air for both of them, potentially. They've been experimenting, and Maestro has actually a fair few characters that he can use. Possibly an Isabella from Venator, that's his main. Smart pick. Also, Maestro can play Samuel. That is a character he's been practicing more with lately, so that pick might surprise some people, but actually I can see where he's coming from, especially if he's looking for a counter to Isabella. Push from Maestro. Maestro getting the first one. And you're fighting the loser this round. Yeah, some people just get the short end of the stick. Unfortunately, Jihadi. But at least you'll be fighting the person who lost, so I guess you can look at it that way. But at this stage of these competitions, I don't think anybody's really gonna have an easy time going forward. Venator's currently 5-0 against Maestro in recent events. Yeah, so a very good record for him. It's easy to see why Maestro's concerned. But they both are, so it makes things interesting. Stab from Venator, that's a second flag for him, and he gets the lead. Samuel can be a pretty good counter to Isabella because of his guard, and he actually has a decent ability to hit Isabella's head. But I've seen Isabella win this matchup before, specifically from Venator too. But I bet you if you ask Venator, like, what characters does he not like fighting as much, at least as far as matchup, maybe not necessarily based on fun, but just what characters counter Isabella well. Samuel is probably pretty far up there. Bet you Alex is up there too, and there might be a couple others. But if we consider people like Ezekiel and even Wrath at times, they've given Venator some trouble with their Samuel before. Push attempt doesn't land. Venator doesn't get the kill. He doesn't do a combo. He just does the YY, probably because there's a sticky situation, and so that's what a lot of us instinctively do. We just throw Y. But I think with Isabella, oftentimes you benefit from combos, at least in that specific situation. Hit to the head. Very easy for me to say that, though, watching this instead of, being in this situation. I do that all the time as well with Vara, just throwing cuts when I'm in a panic situation. Yeah, very easy for me to say from my perspective. A little follow-up from Venator. I don't know if he wanted that or not. I know he accidentally does it sometimes, and I do too when I play Isabella. It's not the best sequence of moves, but you want to follow it up, so So it's kind of a catch-22. The follow-up's not great, but if you don't follow it up, you get situations like we just saw here where the initial stab doesn't kill and you can't capitalize on the hit. So there's no easy way out for Isabella sometimes with that stab, if it doesn't kill in one hit. So Maestro actually getting a lead now. A push doesn't quite land, but he's really trying to apply pressure here. Sidestep, preemptive. Venator almost calls it out. Now Venator's backed in a corner. There's an X cut there to the arm. Maestro needs one more. Not looking great for Venator, but there's still another round to fight, and wins is what matters here. So Venator wins twice afterwards. If he hypothetically lost, this loss here would make no difference. Izzy though, Longsword's love, yeah. I'm a Saber lover, but I still have to admit Isabella is the best girl and the waifu, so to speak, of Hellish Quart. I will stand by that statement and fight you over it if you disagree. Oh, Maestro takes it, but Venator with a nice effort. That was 7-5. Now Venator's hoping to make some kind of comeback here. Okay, let's switch sides. Love Marta more. Zeri's your wife. Oh, man. Okay, Yon mirror this time. Venator wanting to switch it up. Maestro decides to match it. Yon is the strongest character in the game, I would say, so it makes logical sense. I don't know who picked first, but Marina is yours. Yeah, Marina's a little too old, but especially that one skin. She looks like she could be my mother with that skin, so. Although I think she looks older than she actually is, because a lot of people historically did. So there's that to consider as well. Corkscrew from Maestro. Hyena laugh. Okay, Venator fighting well so far, as is Maestro, but Venator has a much clearer lead. Negative 1,000 points. I will say Marta is a respectable choice. Marie is the only choice that I just cannot comprehend. Because Maria looks like a child. I know she's not, but if you told me she was underage, I'd believe you. Like, she looks very young, especially that legacy skin that she has. Okay. Venator dominates this one. Okay, we got one more. The winner of this round wins the whole match. Maestro back to Samuel, which makes sense. Venator finding more success with Yon. He is a pretty good Yon player. The Pokey... Yon in the Pokey... competition? Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the meta with Yon. which is something I'm not really a fan of, but obviously that's how you should use them. And just throw some cuts in. You have a creepy way of looking young. Polish woman, that is. Interesting. I did not know that. East Asian woman, yeah. Yeah, well, Japan for the longest time had really weird age of consent laws. I think they changed them recently to be closer to Western countries, but that's a whole thing too. Won't get into that, but it's terrible. Anyway, Maestro with 2 flags, and Venator has only scored 1 so far. Samuel can be a pretty good counter Dion. It's not that he's stronger or that he has some big advantage, but he does have a good guard, and he has the reach and the tools to counter some of Dion's moves. If I were to consider who has the most offensive tools, though, Jan, objectively speaking, is above Sam. That was a nice trick shot. I don't know if he wanted the trick shot or the corkscrew. It's always the mystery of the hour when that happens, because it's so easy to do the trick shot by mistake, or even the cork by mistake, if you're looking the trick shot. So I don't know, but it was the right move from Venator there, and very well executed. Yeah, that's a pretty common thing. Looks 20 and 50. Yeah, some people are like that. It's crazy. Although I'm 24 and I get told I look 19, so. And I'd say that's about right, actually. So, it's kind of funny. I had some of the students asking me, like, if I was their age. That's how... I think I pretty clearly do not look like a 14-year-old, but... that gives you a little perspective. But 19, yeah, definitely can see that. Haven't visibly aged since then. Trick shot. Let's focus on this fight here. It's very close. Venator scored another with a nice trick shot, making me think it's deliberate because he's doing it so precisely. That stab tracks sidestep so well. Yeah, it does. You're in that club as well? Yeah. Gets annoying if people harp on it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because they think I'm like fresh in the university or something, but no, not at all. I'm almost done, in fact. Okay, Venator took it. Like, I basically have the fall practicum, then I'm a full teacher. They'll probably sub at first, because that's usually how it goes. I'll probably be a substitute teacher before I become a full-time one, but look on the bright side, you can flex with the kids. Okay, we'll do Oak against Info now. Wait, was there an internet problem, or you guys could have paused if there was a... Super slow. It didn't seem slow for me, so it's not FPS. Okay. Alright, well, Oak and info, let me know how it is. At least they were steady, though. That's what I read just now, so. Playing like that, you were playing just fine, I thought. I didn't see an issue, but... Anyway. Oak on the left, info on the right. Anyway, no shame in playing. Whatever works. Works. I didn't really see anything. Oh, that was wrong. Marie versus Laszlo. Oh yeah, Lance is in that boat too, as far as age. Yeah, it was a good fight. I was surprised. Stab from info. Info going with Marie, which is a brave pick. Not an impossible matchup, this one, but it's one that Oak is very familiar with, so Laszlo has an advantage overall. Stab from Oak. Beat down, but a stab through the body from info. That's 2-2. Good recovery. Cross cutting into the stab, but Info's able to counter it. Info doing really well, actually, with Marie so far. Triangle there, a little overzealous with that move, I would say. Making it 3-3. Welcome, by the way, Racer. Glad to see you in the chat. Trying to beat the blade, but doesn't quite manage. There's a blade beat, but Oak is not able to capitalize. He is able to land a hit this time, though, and there's a tired stab from Info. Way too slow. Of course, so Oak is able to then close in. Not often you see Marie with stamina issues, but that damage is the main reason why. Stabs to the body against Oak. Oak now the one getting tired. Actually, wow, okay. Info's getting tired as well. Tired of stabbing Laszlo. It's just so much effort for Marie. And Oak is able to get the flag anyway. Didn't feel like Info did anything wrong. It's just Marie is not in a good place right now. Stabs. There's a stab to the body. Nice from Info. Hoping to bring it back now after those two unfortunate flags. And I'd say Info's playing a little passive. Yeah, and that allowed Oak just now to place a stab. There's a balance you want to play. You obviously want to use your reach, but you do want to pressure the opponent as well. Oak got a slight hit thanks to that blade beat, but gets run through the body. Good to see some one-shot kills with Marie at least. It is possible. Cut there, but did get blade beat, I think, so that cut didn't really come out very well. Triangle there, too close, yeah. And there it is. We're not done yet, Info. You've got another round at least. Probably left because she's used to round robin, but she's coming back. Okay, let's swap sides. Oak is able to take control. Oh, I might not have given you keyboard again. That's my bad info. You have it now. Yeah, because info has a thing where it's like the controller and the keyboard is seen as a controller or something like that. It's not what Oak has. It's I think just a keyboard splitter. So that's why it can seem like she's taking control when you have controller, because it shows up as a controller. I think that's what it is, but in actual fact, it's keyboard. So very important you disable controller too. In that case, triangle into stab for info. Just like last time, an early good start for info. Very brave sticking with Marie, not trying Calc or Marta. Marta would probably be especially good, but info likes Marie's moveset, so, and likes the character. That's another kill for info. That's a double, almost a third for info. Liking the pace of these fights so far. Oak just goes forward with that stab. Info not ready with long guard. Possibly was trying something too. Beating the blade or trying to. Info doing a good job of denying that this time. Good distancing. Double lunge from too close, but the grazing damage causes Oak to be tired, so the follow-up lands. Good from info. That's a third flag. And you never know, info might win this round, make it 1-1. Hit from Oak, though. Beating the blade and striking the head slightly, and that's a double. Oak is not able to capitalize on that damage. There you go, Oak with a stab. Oak is very good at adjusting against opponents, so it's often not enough to just get an early lead and hope you'll walk all over them. Not that I think info's doing that necessarily, but in fact, that was a nice flag from info. So info maintains a lead. But nonetheless, Oak's a tough opponent. He will not lose heart based on how the match has gone previously. Blade beats there from Oak, but eventually info is actually able to recover from those. And in Quartada up close, underused move for Marie mains lately, but used very well here. Grab attempt doesn't land for info. Nice to see those sorts of creative moves from info. Again, info has been known for doing that with Marie. And actually a trade of attacks there favors Oak. Info nearly had it there, but Oak was able to recover. Yeah, info, again, getting a little passive, trying to keep it clean. And actually a good stab there. That was a great way to lure Oak in. And this might actually be a convincing win for info if she's able to capitalize a push attempt. And a nice clash of swords resulting in no hit, but there's a beat from Oak. Another blade beat doesn't land. Oak applying tons of pressure, but backs away when that double lunge comes out, and it causes info to overextend. Nice counter from Oak. Going for that same blade beat, but info is able to counter with a nice cut, resulting in both attacks canceling. Info securing a victory. That makes it 1-1. And we are going to the third round of this series. Yep. Oak on the left. Info going back to Marie, which is probably smart. And that goes to show that sometimes it's best not to switch, even if the initial fight didn't go your way. You can still adapt the second fight. And with such fierce competition, sometimes your first match just isn't gonna go super well, but sometimes you just gotta lock in the next one. And it's nothing to do with the character you picked, it's just on you to make some adjustments to win it, instead of trying to switch it up. And sometimes switching it up is the right call too, to be fair, but other times it is best to just stick with what you feel most comfortable with. And that can be true even if you are using a weak character like Marie. Dash from Info. Very impressive performance so far against such an elite player. Going with those leg cuts, there's a stab. No kill though, those leg cuts do not have a lot of power. As she is using a rapier. Stab attempts. Trying the blade beat. Oak trying the blade beat as well. Chris cut. There's the triangle. Oak from too close though does not land that. Hits at the hilt instead of the blade. And Info, rather convincing looking lead now. Triangle doesn't land there. There's a stab. Grab attempts a punch. A little unfortunate that was fumbled. But sometimes happens to use an attack from too close of a range. Nice exchanges there. Info drawing some blood, but back against the wall there. Vinard does not land, but the sidestep cut does. Sidestep thrust there, but Oak is able to counter with a thrust of his own. This would be quite the upset, actually, if Oak were to lose here. I think Oak is the favorite, just based on character, if nothing else. And he's been performing very well lately. Too close there if that counter hits at the hilt instead of the blade, resulting in no damage, but Info is able to land a hit of her own. Sidestep attempt from Oak, but gets hit again. Laszlo's actually quite vulnerable to being stabbed. That's a trade, but Info gets hit there by that stab. Oak was just really stubborn, and that's what he needed. Cross-cutting there, the 1-2 combo. Again, 1-2 combo countered beautifully by the triangle. Stab attempt doesn't land. But that was a good blade beat. Triangle. Oak hesitant to use that same attack because he noticed that before he was getting too close. Somebody hit the Windows button. Let's be careful with that, guys. Alright, Info's good to go. Alright. Alright. Good we didn't have to interrupt the flow there. I think Info just ran into a problem briefly, but that got resolved. Info back against the wall, but she manages to land a stab. And Info might win the whole thing. That was a dash, thrust, high risk. A stab from Oak, grab attempt from Info. It does not land. We're down to the last flag. Of course, these fighters are not facing elimination, but the loser will end up in the loser's bracket, which is not the best place to be. Stab attempt from Oak doesn't connect. Info back against the wall. We've seen Oak fumble this before. And Info's trying to lure Oak into the trap. There's a nice blade beat, though. Ooh, no counter thrust from Info. A little passive, and I think she pays for it there. Oak is able to secure the round there, but that was a really close fight. Congrats to Info for putting up such a fight with Marie. Now Landsknecht against Plebeian. Yes, this tournament is considered major. Oh, Jihadi has to forfeit. Oh, sorry, I was in the middle of a match when you asked that. I don't know. You're gonna forfeit? Okay. Okay, Landsknecht against Plebeian now. Beautiful. They're both here, ready to go. Nice that we don't really have technical problems, too. Landsknecht on the left, Plebeian on the right. And then I get to fight Mike after this, and the winner of our fight will fight against Oak. So a tough fight on the horizon, regardless, for whichever one of us wins that. So as Manager said in the Discord, it might be good to announce that in the YouTube chat as well, but regardless, they'll hear it here. This is a major tournament, so that means that a lot of points are on the line. So make sure you get those top 3 spots if you want to earn some points in the rankings. Landsknecht on the left, Plebeian on the right. We're going to see Yazuk from Landsknecht, it looks like. I think he's been experimenting with some other sabers lately, so we'll see what happens with that. I think Tarnowski is still his strongest character, but who knows, Yazuk might pose some problems. I know he's been practicing. Good snap cut. Already a flag there for Landsknecht, but then Plebeian's able to secure one of his own. Landsknecht playing a little more offensively than many people might be used to. Not that he's ever been afraid to throw cuts, but I think he's a very composed player. Good stab there on the whiff. But the samurai from Plebeian. Stab to the body. Good stab from Plebeian. Going low, but gets hit. Snap cut to the head. Landsknecht doing really well if he has it so far. Doing a good job of punishing Zera's mistakes. That feint there really costs him though. He's flat-footed and Plebeian knows how to land that stab. Definitely don't want to play his game. Landsknecht's guard holds this time. And he gets the lead back. Nice trade of attacks there. Landsknecht got hit in the leg though. That was, yeah, he wasn't able to move away. So Plebeian was able to secure it. Very close round. Nice preemptive attacks, and Plebeian tries to throw something and gets caught. Dashing in, that big swing results in getting stabbed, actually. Bit reckless there from Landsknecht. And and he pays for it. But we are down to the last flag. Anybody's game. Neither fighter wanting to make a mistake. Stabbing low, though, and there's a stab to the head. Nice from Landsknecht. Definitely proving he can play a good Yazuk. Now we'll switch sides. Same picks, not surprising. Yeah, the toe stab is definitely a really useful tool for Yazuk. A double to start off this round after some probing attacks from both of them. Getting some probing attacks, but then Plebeian commits with the stab, doesn't land it. There's the X stab into back Y, I believe. Wide swing out of measure. There's a stab. It is displaced, though, by those cuts. Landsknecht still not able to get anything through. Used to be too useful. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Yazuk used to be quite a force. Nice. Plebeian with a single tempo counter with the samurai. Cut down to the head. And a snipe to the hand. Stab to the body, and then there's a cut from Landsknecht. Out of measure from Plebeian, but he follows out with a stab. That proved to be really good bait. Big cuts there, and that's a double. Dashing in, displacing the thrust. Good try from Landsknecht, but can't follow that up. Nice stab from Landsknecht. Not able to capitalize, but that was a nice hit. And nice stab. Bit of a wind up there. Gets caught in the double. And a stab. Plebeian doing great this round. Gonna be looking for a flawless victory, potentially. Stab to the body. Landsknecht whiffed out of measure. And isn't ready to counter it. And the samurai, a flawless victory for Plebeian, which has to be really good for his morale. Especially because even that first round, he proved that he was able to fight on equal terms. So it's not like his play was bad earlier. It's just Landsknecht was playing a little bit better. And now he's made some really nice adjustments. And is looking to win it. 1 second. I'm getting a bunch of pings. Alright, never mind. Let's go. There's nothing important right now. Same picks, of course. Nobody's reinventing the wheel. And a stab to the body. Plebeian taking the first one. And a back Y. Looking very good for Plebeian, especially because earlier he did not lose a single flag in the previous round.
Oh yeah.
Landsknecht is able to secure a flag. But there's the hand. Plebeian looking good. Long guard, but then back wise there, making it look like he was going to do some kind of stab. It doesn't actually do it. There's the high guard cut. A bit of a mistake, I think, because Landsknecht was sidestepping. But if he was doing those attacks in a linear fashion, that would have absolutely landed. Definitely a good try. I don't think that attack tracks, though, so... Going low, but pays for it. Very nice from Plebeian. Stab there. Does land. Gets grazing damage, but that's all you need. And the follow-up lands cleanly. And the stab to the face. Plebeian takes it. Very good use of Zera's tools. And he gets to fight Venator later on, which will be exciting. Now I get to fight Mike. Okay, Mike has connected now. And Mike, you'll be on the left, and I'll be on the right. Okay, let's switch sides. Alright, GG. Okay, now we're gonna head down to the loser's bracket first before we head to round 3 in the winner's bracket. Jihadi said he forfeit, so I'll just give Maestro the win. And again, it's best of 3 in the loser's bracket as well. Alright, Info against Pekola. That could be a very exciting fight right there. Especially if they both use Rapier. Obviously no pressure to do that, of course. Pekola can play anybody, so obviously just play whoever. Okay, they're both here. Info on the left, Pekola on the right. And after this, I think we'll do Landsknecht against Maestro Cake in the losers bracket. Round 3 is looking deadly in the winner's bracket. Kalkmir, actually. That's also can be a pretty exciting matchup. Didn't think Info would switch to Calc, to be honest, because I thought the Marie performances were pretty good, but they both decided to do a broadsword duel. Stab to the body there from Pekola. But gotta watch that stamina, it looks like. Calc not having the best stamina. And elimination is on the line this time, as we are in the losers bracket. Cuts there. But a mix-up there from Pekola. And a stab to the body. Good counter thrust, doesn't quite land it. Ooh, stab to the body, or the head. I think the body, even though the decal shows blood splattered on the face. And it wasn't a kill shot, so... Pekola's still on the offensive despite that. Gotta like that. He loves moving forward, he loves feinting, doing some crazy cancels. Big cuts from both of them, but Pekola wins that trade. Pekola is definitely a more experienced Calc, but this is a good opportunity for Info to learn some things. As Info has been trying to develop her broadsword game. It's a double. Pekola maintaining that lead. Stab to the face. Nicely done from Pekola. And it's not looking good for Info. Certainly not this round. Ooh, out of measure from Pekola actually, because that cut doesn't reach super far. And a nice hit from Info. Pekkala having to watch his stamina. Info looking to capitalize, but not able to land a hit. Not able to get the stamina all the way down. That stab might have sealed the deal, though. We will see. Looks like Pekkala still has some gas in the tank. Snap cut. Cuts there from Pekkala. Still has the stamina to do a surprising amount. Considering Calc is an old man. Doesn't have much stamina. And there, that cut out of measure is punished by Info. Bunch of attacks from Pekkala. Cancels as well of the recovery. Mixing up the timing results in a double this time. Info is not able to get a clean kill. Cut in the thrust. Nice angle from Pekkala. And Pekkala needs one more to make this 1-0. Very good pressure from Pekkala, making Info make these mistakes and then simply winning the exchange. Stab to the body from Pekkala. Now he's on the offensive. Info trying to keep him at bay. Actually, Pekkala getting tired again. That is the one disadvantage of playing so actively with Calc, is he can get tired quickly. But Pekkala, regardless of that, I would say is still doing a great job of stamina management. Good stab from Info. We haven't seen Pekkala get completely tired, so he's doing an impressive job of conserving energy. And a beautiful in-quartada sidestep there from Pekkala finishes the round. Perfectly executed. But we are not done yet. Okay, Martha against Sam this time. Info going with Martha. Pekkala is wrapping around and going with a nice cut to the arm. Pekkala has been doing great. Very deceptive movement here. And Info gets beat and then a strike to the arm. That was perfectly done by Pekkala. Just the slightest blade beat, but keeping the blade in contact and then hitting the arm. Not overextending. Does get stabbed there this time. Another blade beat. Info's able to retreat though. Throwing a lot of cuts actually. Then there's a stab. Good bait from Info. Sidesteps. Good beat again from Pekkala. Just being wary of the back Y as you should against Marta. It's not always so simple to beat the blade and then follow up. And a strike to the hand. Nice stab. Strike to the arm. Tekla needs one more to secure this round and to eliminate Info. Info going in with a stab, determined to secure that flag. Definitely no fight locked in her yet. Tekla's got to be careful. That dash Y is actually a pretty dangerous move, but he does beat the blade down, taking advantage of Samuel's fast cuts, and does get the kill. Info not ready to counter that blade beat. Pekla will fight Mike later, but before that, I think we'll do Landsknecht against Maestro Cake. Landsknecht is here. Maestro is here. Beautiful. Alright, Landsknecht will start on the left, Maestro on the right. Okay. Yazuk there from Landsknecht. Maestro having some problems? No? Hang on. It's best of 3. Best of 3, Maestro. So you gotta win twice. Double. But Landsknecht takes the first flag. This would be a pretty important victory for Landsknecht against such a prestigious player as Maestro. It also keeps him in the tournament, so it'd be good for his morale. There's 2 flags. Dashing in, but gets punished by Maestro. Little telegraph there. But this time hits the head there as Maestro tries to single tempo.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Maestro with another flag. Really back and forth this fight. Double. And a little exchange there, but Samuel's reach is able to give Maestro another kill. Dashing in and does get a hit and a follow-up. Nice from Landsknecht. That was the perfect time to do that. Landsknecht is proving to be a good Saber player in general, not just a Dusak player. Which isn't actually super surprising. I think a lot of Saber players once they master one saber, they can often master a bunch at once. Especially once they learn the moveset. Just the tempo of Yazid's different. That's the main difference. Very close round. Maestro had a nice lead, but no longer has one. They both push. Somebody could have probably grabbed there and won it, but they pushed at exactly the same time. That's really intense. They're matching each other's footwork too. Maestro with a preemptive sidestep, then goes to high guard. Sidestep, gets hit in the leg by that stab though, despite landing a hit as well. Landsknecht still has his mobility despite taking that hit. See what happens now. Both fighters don't want to throw this away. Big cuts there from Landsknecht, a little bit of retreats, trying to snipe the hand. But he dashes in, and that was a little overzealous on Landsknecht's part. Maestro was able to take it. Now switch sides. Let's see if Maestro can bring it home. Quart in the stab. Both go at it there, and Maestro is not able to secure the kill with the corkscrew because he was too close. Nice dodge there from Landsknecht, but not able to quite capitalize. Maestro on the offensive, and that gives Landsknecht another chance to kill him there. Maestro with no regard for defense, and a stab to the body. Yeah, being a little bit reckless of Jan here, not respecting Lands very much in that regard. Bunch of attacks, but Landsknecht did the same thing, and Maestro was able to capitalize. Just barely, that was close though. And Maestro takes the handoff, beautiful, making it very close to even. Yeah, Maestro's warmed up with Jan, but he does take a hit to the head. Corkscrew into stab. Again, Quart once more from Maestro. Good defense from Landsknecht. Corkscrew again. Landsknecht counter thrusting it this time, using a straighter thrust to outreach Maestro after catching the blade. There's another thrust attempted, but gets countered. Nice stab there from both of them. Maestro with some cuts. Very nice exchange. Maestro just able to get the better end of it with better timing. And again, now it's very close. But Landsknecht takes it again. Seems like I cursed Maestro twice this fight. Let's see if Maestro is able to bring that, make that comeback and win this whole match. Landsknecht facing elimination if he loses. Stab. Wants that kill very bad. Maestro's guard holds up though as Landsknecht is very reckless with those attacks. Now he's tired. Very good patience from Maestro. Landsknecht just going at it without trying to find any special angles, and as a result he's not able to overwhelm the auto guard. Maestro gets another flag. And this is a really intense round. Maestro with preemptive attacks. Nice upcut, almost finishes it. Maestro of excellent movement, dashes back just in time. Maestro manages to stay into it, thanks to, in part as well, to Jan's HP. Very nicely done from Maestro, that could have been it. And he knows it, he's cautious now, not throwing too many attacks. There's a stab from Landsknecht, who really wants to finish this, but also doesn't want to throw this away. Because if he throws this away, he loses the whole match. So a lot of pressure on lands, I think, especially in that regard. He cannot lose this flag under any circumstances. Dash in the push. Maestro of good movement. Isn't able to punish it, though. Swings from Lanchnet. Upcut. Trying to bait Maestro in, I think. And Maestro doesn't quite take it. Bunch of cuts there from Maestro as they test each other's guard. Dash from Maestro. That turned out to be an interesting bait, actually. Then he gets the corkscrew. That's it. Maestro is able to take it. And that was close. That fight right there. You like it when we say Lanchknecht? Nice. Yeah. Really cool class of warrior, I have to say. Mike against Pekkala now. Some intense fights this tournament, I have to say. That looked like it was very high pressure. And yeah, no worries, Maestro. Glad that's, well, obviously it was cleared up now, but glad I cleared that up now. Pekkala is here. Let's see if Mike is around. Not a big deal if he isn't, of course. We can wait a bit longer. Beautiful. Yeah, everybody's been on time and whatnot. No technical problems that I'm aware of, so it's really good. It's going very smoothly. We'll head back into the winner's bracket after this fight, as we will need to complete those fights in round 3 to complete round 3 in the loser's bracket. So Mike on the left, Pekkala on the right. Unfortunately, I won't be saying Lanchknecht very much going forward, Racer, because you got eliminated, but interesting picks here. Pekkala can play a good Tarnowski, so it's actually nice to see him playing like every character in his roster. He's not just sticking to one character. Sometimes I think that is to Pekkala's detriment, but it also shows us how well-rounded he is as a player, how versatile he is, and how skilled he is. The fact that he can play all these characters so well. Push. Then there's a strike to the arm. False edge cut from Pekkala. That was beautifully placed. Pekkala tried dashing in, stopped though, good patience, and then secures a kill shot. I'm not even gonna try to say that. Yeah, English doesn't have compound words quite like that. That is a cool thing about German, though, that you can just put random stuff together. At least that's my understanding. And then it is actual German. Even if it's, like, not in a dictionary or something. Kick there, strike to the head. Push. But yeah, those 2 strikes there from Mike, every time Pekala whiffs, are working quite well. Mike's playing well this time, have to say. Doing a good job punishing Pekala's mistakes when he makes them. But Pekala showing some nice Tarnowski combos that nearly landed. And nice sidestep A there. Pekala needs one more. Push attempt, doesn't land. And that false edge cut seems to get right past Marina's guard. And it's very often a kill shot, so very threatening. Low guard, X cut from Pekala. Nearly able to finish it, but ooh, Pekala with a nice recovery. I almost called Pekala Tarnowski. You guys might have seen that just now when I switched the names. Alright, let's switch sides, guys. It's not over yet. Again, fighting for elimination. Marta this time from Pekala. Let's see what Pekala can do this time. Push, and then a stab to the body. Good lunge. 1-1. Push. Strike to the arm. Blade beats from Mike, but not able to capitalize. Marta's good at recovering from those. That was a good try, though. That lunge doesn't connect. Now Mike's backing off, seeing that this offensive rush is not really working in his favor. And that stab to the head from Pekala, you didn't really see the stab there, but Mike did run onto the point, so... Yeah, some of Marta's stabs, and that's a... I know she doesn't really represent Destreza that well, but all the same, these subtle sort of movements where it looks like your opponent is just running onto the rapier are very Destreza-like, so that is cool to see. There it is. I think Pekala's doing some cancels too. We know Marta can do that. And that's what Pekala is known for with a lot of characters. Blade beats, but then Pekala, with a really smart choice, goes low under the shield. And there's a stab overhead. Side steps, and there's a cut. Mike is really struggling to close in. That's what he needs to do, but he's getting reckless now, and Pekala is capitalizing on that. Because Mike knows the longer he stays outside his own range, the more chances Pekala has to land a hit, but if you're too reckless and trying to close in on Marta, and it doesn't matter what character you're playing, Marta can be a threat to anybody. It can end badly. But that's a good kill for Mike. Mike is still in this fight. Push to the stab. Pekala needs one more. One more to eliminate Mike. And Mike knows it. Bunch of stabs from Pekala. Mike is forced into the corner. Doesn't want to make a mistake, but runs onto the point there. Yeah, those dashes apparently leave Marina pretty vulnerable to being stabbed. Which, to be fair, most characters that is the case. But it may be a little surprising in Marina because often people expect the shield to offer more passive protection than it sometimes does. Those two low dodges, yeah, they were very... As racers said there, they were incredible from Pekala. You don't see those from Marta as often because the back Y is usually considered stronger. All right. Now we're on to round 3 in the winner's bracket. Plebeian versus Venator. Possibly Zera versus Isabella. But Venator was doing well with Jan, so I will also not be surprised if he decides Jan is the play here. As Venator also does main Jan, so. Okay, Plebeian on the left, Venator on the right. Alright, let's do it. Barabbas from Venator. Barabbas against Zera. A very good pick in this matchup, I would say. Barabbas does have some nice sidestep options. He's very good at punishing Zera with his speed. And I'm sure Venator's observed my fights before and is taking notes. He does that with other players as well. So we'll see what he cooks up. That was a nice sidestep into low cut. Not typically how it's done, but it worked very well here against Zera, who's vulnerable against those types of sidesteps. Against a lot of characters, I would say that is fairly risky, but Zera, like we saw just now actually too, if you sidestep, unless he picks a move that sort of tracks where you're moving, it can be very easy to move such that you take the sting out of his cut, or that he is not able to respond. Threatening a sidestep, but Venator just a little bit offline and using the back Y to keep the thrust at bay. Again, dashing to the side. You can see Venator's really experimenting with the sidesteps here. And Venator doing that horizontal cut to the hand as well, although it is able to be blocked. It is a quick move. And I like that Venator's sidestepping from both directions instead of just the one. Chop there, punishing low guard. Plebeian obviously had a trap plan there. He wasn't just doing low guard for the sake of it, but Venator was able to call him out before he could spring the trap. Plebeian probably didn't expect it, because usually that's kind of a noobish thing to do, to strike somebody who's doing low guard. Because, and it's just like real life too, this happens in the game as well. any experienced player that's doing low guard is not planning to use that as their guard, of course. They're planning a move of some kind. Some kind of trap. But in this case, picking that option was the unexpected move. And so it was the smart option. In a weird way. And you know, if you space your attack just right, you're presenting a threat to your opponent anyway, and they have to respond to it, so... It absolutely can be the correct move to do it, but oftentimes it isn't, because if your opponent's on the ball with the reaction time, you're just falling for a trap, especially a stab. Stab is the favorite move after that, for both Isabella and Zera. But they have some other options as well. Venator doing great with the side steps, and he's realized that, and Tao's been talking about this a lot too, so it's really not a secret. Nice bash through by Plebeian. But it's just how vulnerable Zera is to side steps, and how much of his moveset you lower, you sort of rule out by sidestepping. Like, even that thrust there is slightly offline, and that was just because Venator dashed to the side. So that was really intelligent. And very different from how he usually plays, I have to say. So, Plebeian probably was not expecting this game plan, but it worked very well. It's actually quite different from how I play Bara, too. So. But we're not done yet. We're switching sides. Venator on the left now. Hopefully there's not a problem. Beautiful. Back to Bara, back to Zera. Probably smart from both of them, to be honest. Even Plebeian, I mean, he has the opportunity to make some adjustments, so. And Zera is his main, so. Again, sidewalking from Venator. Ballsy from Venator if that sidestep Y. But if Plebeian took the bait, that could have been a kill for Venator. And Venator's, again, walking in a circle. He's actually a bit more on the nose with it this time, actually, than he was before. Because it works so well. Plebeian this time gets a graze of the stab, but Venator's able to back off, but the stab lands again. It's a very tough move to block if you're not ready for it. That's why that sidestepping was working so well. It is such a deep lunge. That's a double. Plebeian is able to call him out just in time this time. Quick cut from Plebeian. Venator with a sidestep, but Plebeian showing some nice patience this time. Ooh, he almost gets punished there, but good recovery of that cut. And again, trying to counter the sidestep with that stab, but Venator is ready with long guard. Very intelligent from Venator there. So I like the patience that Plebeian is using. He's trying to reset when Venator sidesteps so that he can land that stab. And I've seen him use that against me as well. But Venator was preemptively ready for that type of a move. He knows that Plebeian is trying to land that stab. So he had long guard ready to go. So he was able to land a quick hit and punish it. Sidestepping and back Y. Back Y is very good against stabs as well. Zera's stab does reach pretty far though, so that can be a little risky sometimes. This time, Plebeian with the X stab, not the Y stab, so a bit less commitment, but it does land. Venator might need to change something here, as I'm seeing some adjustments from Plebeian in response to Venator's side-walking strategy and side-dashing strategy. Venator doesn't necessarily need to stop sidestepping. I think it's just the way he's approaching it. There he goes for some A cuts, but I think those are Barabash's weakest cuts as far as power. You don't see them very often for a reason. It's not like Gideon where he has like a really powerful one. There's some niche situations where the A cut is the correct move, but Despite the fact that it's aimed at Zera's hands, it very often doesn't seem to land. Stab attempt. Nice sidestep attempt from Venator. And back Y, nicely done. He cued it right after the sidestep and hit the head. Bit slower pace this time around as they've both made adjustments to each other, so they're cautious. They don't want to overextend. Especially not Plebeian, because that is bad news against Barabash. Good sidestep from Venator. And hits the hand. Yeah, very different way from playing Barabash, but still using those same fundamental moves, so I like that. The moves are often the same. Not always, though. Venator is throwing some stuff that I don't typically throw as well. But the difference is how he's using them, too. So that's kind of the beauty of this game. You can use the same meta moves or the same character and use that character in a completely different way. And still get good results. And right now, Venator's style is really just focused on Zera's weaknesses. There, I think he re-centered himself. I don't think he meant to. But if Venator kept sidestepping, maybe he would have avoided that stab. I see why he did back Y, though. He really wanted to hit the head and displace the blade. He just wasn't able to do that in time. And his hit to the head didn't have enough power, I guess, to kill Zera, who does have a little bit more HP. So, who knows? Goes low, though. That takes out Plebeian's movement. Plebeian with low guard. And that's a double. I think that's actually the Holy Stance input for that, by the way. So it's a different guard, but it looks like low guard. Basically functions like low guard, though. His head is exposed and, you know, stuff like that. Sidesteps, tries to come down. Stab attempt, nice movement from Venator. Venator is obviously looking to finish this whole fight, so he doesn't want to throw this one away. That's a trade. But Plebeian, once again, limping. Venator sidesteps. Goes low, but Plebeian's ready this time. Clocks him right in the head. And that's 1-1. Okay, let's swap sides. Tell Peckle is taking some notes, I'm sure, as well, with how Plebeian is playing Zera. Okay, same picks here. Venator just trying to go with the matchup that makes the most sense. Good cancel there from Plebeian. He could have been punished there if he kept going. Again, the side movement, Venator able to stay safe that way. But he's looking for that opportunity. Yeah, they're probing each other with their movement. You don't want to surrender initiative, though at some point you do need to attack. That goes for both fencers, but so far they're just focusing on getting a better position. Plebeian is able to do it and bash through the guard. That might give him more confidence going forward. B-cut there, the samurai, but good movement from Venator. Going low. Sidestep out of measure though from Venator, and he gets punished instantly. That's the key with the sidestep. You gotta get the perfect positioning, and you gotta be close enough, or your opponent will block it. That's not just true for Zera, that's true for a lot of characters. Oftentimes it lands when a character overextends. And if it's just aimed at the blade, it often won't land. That might have been a chance right there to throw it. But easier said than done under such pressure. There's a stab from Plebeian. Plebeian's doing a great job with Zera. And the more that Venator sort of plays his game, the worse it might get for him. So Venator's going to need to change something. The Holy Stance, not able to punish it though. Venator did try, but wasn't quite able to. Going low, but that's typically not a favorable trade. Often you gotta set that up first. Yeah, Zera hits like a truck, especially to the head. But nice back Y from Venator. Venator needs to find a way to mix it up. And there he goes with the sidestep. Plebeian maybe getting a little overzealous there. He really wanted that 5th flag, but doesn't quite secure it. To be honest, I think that's what both of them need. They're doing one movers. And sometimes they work, like that stab, but I think for both of them, they'll find even more success if they start mixing it up. Showing that initiative. Plebeian is able to take advantage of the fact that his weapon is longer though, so this sort of stalemate favors Zera, at least a competent Zera, every time. Trick shot. Nice try from Venator, but not able to land it. Yeah, Venator's trying to get creative, but Plebeian is just in his own. The upcut out of measure, Venator was forced to back away there, so he couldn't land it. I feel like if Venator was too close, that would have been Plebeian's point, actually. That chop lands nice from Venator. Able to call out Plebeian. Getting past through the fences this time. Both of them fainting. Venator backing off just a little bit. Feints from Plebeian. That's scary. He can stab any time. He doesn't have to cut. And Venator knows it. He has to close in, but you don't want to eat a stab for your trouble. Not from Zera. That's why he's got Long Guard ready, too. He knows that stab is dangerous. But that sidestep from Long Guard, beautiful. Plebeian might not have expected that, because that's not a common sidestep for Bara mains, but Venator does like throwing it from time to time. But he does Long Guard, and Plebeian calls him out and hits the hand. A nice win for Plebeian, but I have to say, Venator showed some nice tactics as well. I think he just needed to show a little bit more aggression and a little bit more creativity. That's what Bara needs, but Plebeian was also, I have to say, making it tough on Venator to do just that. So, very well done from both of them. Okay, Oak will be fighting me now, which will be exciting. I'm sure Oak's been itching for a fight for a while. Loser of this fight will fight Maestro Cake. And I'm on the left, by the way. Oak will be on the right. Apologies for the passive fight. There's nothing to apologize for. You played well. I think Venator just needed to find a way to get more creative. Yeah, nothing to apologize for at all. It was a cool fight. Yeah, absolutely. He didn't do anything wrong. Venator just needed to find some ways to get past the guard. That's all it was. And you have the longer weapon, so it makes sense to use more of your reach. Ooh, I got slightly impatient there. Nice. You can see there, I started to do my riposte just a little bit too soon. Nicely played, Oak. Got another round, of course, at least. And I'm gonna stick with Bar. I like to have some fun. I could use Yawn, but Bar is objectively the more fun option, so. I regret it, but we'll see. At least as far as winning. I won't regret from a fun perspective, most likely. I think I'm starting to figure something out. Oh my gosh, GG. Thought I had him there if that snap cut, but he was able to power through. That was nicely done. 2-0 for Oak, but disputed fights, I would say. And very fun. Alright, let's do Venator against Pekla now. It's all tough fights from here on out. So, let's see what happens. Yeah, I know, Oak. I know. It's just I want to have some fun and I don't want to use characters that rely so much on stabbing, so I might still because I'm facing elimination now if I don't, but we'll see. I won't do it against non-Laslos though. No real reason to. Okay, Venator and Pekla are here. And Venator, you start on the left. And the winner of this fight will go into the loser's bracket semifinals, which is a pretty important place to be if you want to score some points in the rankings. Need at least third place. Well, obviously you get 1 point for just participating, but if you want actual, like, an actual good amount of points, you want to get third at least. Hassan from Pekala. Jan from Venator. Venator's been playing a lot of Jan lately. Raw eggs. Venator's doing good so far. So is Pekla. Pekla scored a flag. But there's another one for Venator. Yeah, I'm not a fan of raw eggs either. I've tasted one by accident before, and it was pretty disgusting. And I didn't even know it was raw, right? So, like, I thought it was, I was trying to go for over easy when I was frying them. And the one egg was pretty disgusting, so. You know, back when I was learning to cook eggs. That's a mistake you never make again, if you can help it anyway. To be fair though, over easy, it's actually, if you're not careful, it can be surprisingly easy to end up with them undercooked. So not the worst mistake you could possibly make. Venator takes it, by the way. Very convincing victory now. Pekala, you still have a fight. At least one more round to go. Yeah, you're not done just yet. You forgot? Yeah, it's all good. Probably just left on impulse. It happens. Peckle on the right now. Your favorite is fried eggs, but when the yolk is still a tiny bit liquid. Yeah, that's we call that. I don't know what you guys call it in Russia, but we do call that over easy, or actually medium sometimes, depending on the degree of the cook. Tiny bit liquid, that's probably medium. You don't know what you call it in Russian? Yeah, we have a lot of. I can see that. We have some strange terms in English too. Like over easy is when it's very runny but not raw, and then you have medium, and then you have hard yolks for fried eggs. But anyway, Venator going with Marta. These are interesting picks from both of them. Venator's like, let him leave, bro. Okay, they both good? Yep, they're both good. Surprised Venator didn't just go for the stab after being signaled. Probably was worried about long guard, but I think even the dash Y can get past it sometimes. But I will not take responsibility if Venator tries it and it fails. Let's put it that way. It's just well known that it is a pretty good move. But I am not responsible for any mistakes the fighters make. Stab to the body. That is 1-1. Side step. Stab to the face. Nice from Venator. Big cuts from Pekla, able to force the double in the end. Pekla keeping his cool, but then going for a bunch of cuts. Venator looking for the punish, doesn't quite get it. But that big slash as Venator sidesteps. You just like food? As long as the yolk meets the lightest cooked the egg's done. Like translucent and rough. Okay. Yeah, when it comes to fried eggs, I like them runny. So over easy is what I like. Very few foods you won't enjoy. Yeah, for the most part, I'm like that too. There's stuff like raisins, though. I cannot stand raisins. And I still believe, and I know it might not be true, because raisins go back pretty far, but I still believe somebody invented raisin cookies as a way to prank people who wanted chocolate chip cookies. I'm totally fine with oatmeal cookies. Oatmeal cookies are delicious, but as soon as you add raisins to them, it's an instant turnoff. Runnier the yolk, the better for you. The white better be cooked or else. Yeah, it's amazing how it goes from tasty to disgusting, depending on whether it's raw or not. In some places, they do eat raw eggs deliberately, though, like Japan. But in Japan, to be fair, they do have safer eggs than in a lot of places, so they actually are able to get away with that. I would not do that with American eggs, though. Canadian eggs are like somewhere in between. They're actually pretty safe, pretty high standard, but they're just unsafe enough that I wouldn't risk it. Oatmeal raisin cookies are top 3? No way. Oatmeal cookies, sure. Oatmeal raisin? No. Oatmeal chocolate chip are worse. Oh my goodness, I started a bit of a war in the chat. Raisin lovers and those who don't like raisins. Yeah, for me it's the texture of them more than anything. Tomatoes? I love tomatoes. I like olives too. That's gonna be a controversial one. Tomatoes work in sandwiches and burgers. Yeah, they work in a lot of things for me. But yeah, I probably mostly eat like raw tomato and stuff like hamburgers. I don't like ketchup though. And when I say that, I don't mean I find it disgusting. I just mean I think there's better condiments out there you can put on fries and stuff. Curry ketchup is good though. The German stuff. Racer would know what I'm talking about if he's still here. We actually do have a few stores that sell that here in Canada, and it's the best. And this is actually really intense. Venator of the Inquartada, stab to the face, no kill. It might have technically been a neck shot actually by the game's logic. But it still should kill if you ask me, but, you know, it's considered a body shot, but with the hitboxes. Still a good effort from Venator, and it's down to the last flag. So I'm going to focus on this flag instead of the food wars that I've started in the chat. Good use of Marta's reach. Pekola trying to go for a subtle blade beat, but there's the push attempt from Venator, but Pekola takes it. Wow, that is 1-1 now. We're not done yet. Venator on the left now, of course. Pekola on the right. We will be switching sides. Ketchup is good, but it's too sweet. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Maestro. That's kind of my problem with it. It's not that it tastes bad. It's that there's better stuff that you can put on stuff, you know, your fries or your burgers or whatever it is. I'll take a hot sauce over ketchup any day, or curry ketchup. Pork chops in applesauce. I wouldn't do that, but I do like raspberry hot sauce with pork. That's very good. Because raspberries are just tart enough, and they have just a little bit of sweetness, not too much, and then you add some spice to a sauce like that, and it's just delicious. Crazy how different a tomato can taste. Yeah. Victor just joined the chat while we're in the middle of our food wars here. Currently, this is Venator and Pekola are fighting to avoid elimination. It is 1-1 in their match. I'm also in the losers bracket, and I'll be fighting Maestro shortly. And Oak is set to move on. Raspberries and pork. Not raspberries specifically, but raspberry sauce. I wouldn't eat it with, like, just raspberry and that's it. My goodness, a lot of controversial takes on my end, I suppose. Modern grocery shop tomatoes. Yeah, absolutely. There's better tomatoes out there. Okay, I'm gonna try and focus on the fight, because this food wars are taking up all my attention right now. Maestro promoting English cuisine. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. A Yank promoting British cuisine, English cuisine. Corkscrew from Venator. Bet you both of these fighters are raring to get involved in this food war as well. These are so un-American. corkscrew again. No kill. Pekla's surely getting tired at this point, though. He's been hit, what, 3 times? I think one of them was a graze. And that was a double hit from the corkscrew, too, but it was a grazing double hit. There's a direct stab to the body. Venator needing a lot of effort for that kill. He's probably glad he got it. Definitely deserved it. Hekla on thin ice here. If he loses this round, it's over. Garlic makes any food better except when milk is involved. Interesting. Garlic is very good. I won't disagree there. I don't know if it makes any food better, though. That would be a little bit of a stretch. But garlic is great. I love garlic. I put it on eggs and, you know, just like all sorts of things. Yeah, fruits and desserts. Although I don't eat dessert that much, so in practice, garlic probably makes like 90%, if not more, of foods better for me. Garlic milk, could you imagine? It is. I feel bad for... I keep getting distracted, but that's a stab from Venator. Already looking good for him. He might just secure this whole fight. I love how this is just an intense fight, and we've just been arguing about food this whole time. I've only briefly been looking at this fight. And I'm sure at least one of them is hearing all this, too. They're just arguing about food while they're having the most intense fight for their lives in this tournament. Nice mix-up from Pekla. Doesn't land. The cork doesn't land either. Nice long guard. That's exactly what you need to do against the corkscrew. Square up with long guard. That's a double. Pekla probably a little bit happy with that, even though it doesn't really get him anywhere. It at least prevents him from having to fight while tired. He can kind of reset his stamina. A cut there. Nice from Pekla. Don't think Venator got a hit out of that exchange, so that is huge for Pekla. Big cut there, but gets stabbed. Nice from Venator. They've both taken damage again. Stab attempt. This is a really stressful fight, I have to say. Yeah, I can't help myself. But since we're so close to the end, I'll do my best. Big cut. Doesn't land. Thrust down. Pekla A cut. Oh my goodness. Pekla really needs to watch his stamina. The long fight is really where Pekla is going to struggle here with Calc. Venator trying to find an opening. Stab from Pekla. Pekla's got to be so careful with that stamina. He does a great job, I have to say, despite being an active player as far as cancels and attacks. He does a great job of maintaining that stamina, even when injured. There's a stab to the arm, though. Venator finally takes it. That was Hall of Fame-worthy round, I would say, at the very least. Well done to both fighters. Venator manages to squeak out that victory just barely. And now I get to fight Maestro Cake. Hall of Fame worthy for that last flag. Yeah, 100%. It was a great fight. And then if we post it in Hall of Fame, like people watching will just hear us, they'll hear me talking about food with the chat for most of it. But that's a classic trope on this server. So it is what it is. Okay, Maestro Cake on the right, and I'll be on the left to start us off. That was great. Great fight. Okay, good luck, Maestro. Samuel, I'm not surprised. That's a good pick. Good pick from Maestro. And good luck. Nice round. Yeah, Sam is fantastic, I have to say. I was gonna say, I thought he was gonna switch to Yon for a moment, but it would be a little weird. Uncle Sam. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I gotta lock in here. this is shaping up to be another Hall of Fame worthy fight. Hands are shaking. This is for all the marbles. It's so stupid. I'm sorry, Maestro. It was you or me, buddy. Okay. God. God. I don't know what happened there. Some weird block stun thing, but I'm alive. Oh, GG, Maestro. If I hadn't discovered that trick shot cancel thing, I feel like I would have lost because that's such a nice pressure tool. But that was Hall of Fame worthy too, I would say. Exhausting fight, but in the best possible way. Good game. I need a breather after that. Alright. Tell you what, even though my fight against Venator is technically next, I think I'll take a break. I think Venator will understand. Let's do Plebeian against Oak. I'm sure they want to fight anyway, so I don't think they'll say no. Alright, I want to see how crazy the chat was going. I know it was going crazy, but I wasn't like focused on it for obvious reasons. Yeah. Rule 1, don't attack a tired bar. Yeah, that was... I deflected his stab, I think it was, with the tired swing. Yeah, that was crazy, but... it wasn't even that I was deliberately trying to exploit it so much as I was just trying to throw attacks, because that's my only way out of that alive. But Bar Bash allows you to do some crazy things with those swings, so... yeah, certainly that one instance, that was absolutely crucial. Plebeian on the left, and Oak on the right. Stab on tired bar. Yeah, that can be a good idea. I'm just reading the chat. Going down. Sure no spam snap cuts when he's tired. Yeah. That is kind of scary. Yeah, I hope not. I hope I don't get 4th place. Oh, 2nd, 4th place in my Tourney history of feature cell. I see. I see what you're saying, yeah. Alright. I'm caught up with the chat now. There were some crazy exchanges, too. Wow, taking the hand off. Oak is on fire, too, today, by the way. I'm actually hoping that I get to meet him in the final. But if Plebeian puts on a good show, I definitely won't say no to fighting him, too. And I only say that because I want to get revenge. Sweet revenge on Oak. And win the tournament. It'll be more satisfying if I fight him twice, but we will see. 11-0 in the Boromir. Yeah, I can't... now that you mention it, I can't recall the last time I lost a Boromir. It might have been against Plebeian. Yeah, it would have been against Plebeian at some point. But I don't know if it was in a tournament or not. At least, when you started doing the rankings. Zera is so terrifying to approach. Yeah, especially with that stab, he can... and he has some cuts that can actually break through your guard now. So... Venator was having trouble with that earlier. But Oak seems to be doing a masterful job. pressure. There's one for Plebeian. Nightmares about the side steps. Got all tourneys since December 2024. Some single event is still getting there. That's really impressive, though, I have to say. But yeah, I haven't thought of that before, but you're right. Like, usually when someone decides to bar mirror me, it doesn't go well. But yeah, that is a lot of data, if you think about it. That's months and months of it by now. Time flies by fast. 2024 is a year ago. Hard work is over, easy to update now. That's good. The effort is still respected, and Plebeian is making a nice comeback. Stab to the arm. Hopefully I didn't say too much. Don't want to curse him. But he's making some nice adjustments. He was doing the same against Venator. Oh, Oak takes it. Just barely, though. That was a close one. But still got another one to go at the very least. Alright, Plebeian with 3 flags. Sorry, I just looked away for a second. But Oak was able to tag Plebeian just there. If I pick first versus you, my pick will always be Bara. Nice stab. Out of fear. Nice. Plebeian scoring another one. He's made some really good adjustments, and they're translating to this round as well. It wasn't just a case where Oak was getting careless or anything like that. It was far from it. Plebeian is just making some really nice adjustments to Oak's style. Nice sidestep from Oak. Plebeian getting a little passive there, but I know what he's doing though. He's trying to land those stabs and to make use of Zera's range. And some very smart adjustments, I have to say. Just gotta be careful, because an opponent dictating the exchanges and applying a lot of pressure can do what Oak's doing right now, and if Oak wins one more... Actually, he wins this whole match, not just this round. Plebeian's got to be careful. He can still stay in this if he scores it. A lot of pressure on Plebeian. He does not get eliminated, of course, but still not a great place to be. Nice, the stab. Making it 1-1. We're gonna see the same picks, I figure, yeah. Exchange there, resulting in a double. Oak takes the first flag. But will Oak choke this or not? That's the big question. Will he lose to Plebeian? This would be huge for Plebeian, by the way, guys. If Plebeian wins this, he makes it to the finals. So, for someone who's relatively new, compared to Oak, I mean, of course, obviously he's been with us for a while by now. But compared to Oak, he is new. And that was kind of funny, the blade deleted. Because the hand was taken off, but he did land a stab. Someone relatively new, though, making it to the finals like this. Pretty massive achievement. And honestly, even like making it to the semifinals is not easy. Back Y. And it's not like if you lose this, your winning chances are gone either. So, stab to the head. But you do want that advantage of having multiple lives. Just because you haven't lost the fight yet, so you get 2 lives if you win this. For those who are not aware. And it can make for some intense fights, especially if there's some kind of rivalry. But Oak is playing this really well right now. Goes for a belly lunge. Very nice adjustments on Oak's part. Plebeian needs to change something. Trying to snipe the hand there, Oak. Very good try. That's been working a lot for him lately, and sidestepping in there in general is a good idea. There's a strike from Plebeian. Just goes for a regular cut this time. Sidestep, nice. Good stab to the arm. Plebeian doing fantastic now. He's figured some things out. Now they're both just a tad cautious. They don't want to give a flag away at this stage. Because if Oak wins this flag right now, his winning chances just skyrocket. And the same really goes for Plebeian, because he'll even it up. At the very least for Plebeian, they'll be even. Theoretically speaking. Very important flag. That upcut there, dangerous for Laszlo, but Oak keeps his defense solid. Both threatening each other. Just at the maximum range at best there. Yeah, Oak is not quite able to land that sidestep. Just a little too far. You can see he's really struggling to find something here, trying to sidestep. But so is Plebeian, to be honest. Plebeian doesn't want to overextend. big cuts there, but cancels it, then goes for a stab. That was smart, but Oak reads it. Some back wise. Another very close fight. Plebeian with the samurai mixes it up there, and that's what he needed. Just mix it up and find initiative. And he did. As Oak got complacent. And there goes the hand. Oak trying a sidestep. 5-5. Oak with a belly lunge, though. That's huge. Oak needs one more to secure this victory. And to secure his spot in the finals. Blade beat, actually, because he hit the weak of Laszlo's blade. Back Y. And Oak takes it. But an excellent performance from Plebeian, who will fight the winner between me and Venator. But Plebeian's not eliminated. Yeah, but whoever wins this whole thing is going to have a tough time against Oak, so nobody's having an easy time going forward. Absolutely nobody. Venator's here. And Venator takes the left side. I'll take the right side. All right, and let's do it. Now, who's Venator gonna pick? Jan. Goes with Jan. I think that's a smart pick. Isabella, he wasn't really feeling it with Isabella, I don't think. He didn't say it out loud, but I think it seemed evident from his performance. But his Jan has been doing well, so. think I could have had him there. Okay, Jesus. Why do you guys do this to me? These fights are incredible. But exhausting. Alright, we got another one, Venator. At the very least. Hope you're ready. Yeah, that's actually a really smart pick as well. Yeah, that chop, if Bara didn't have it, Jan would just dominate every time. And as other people are saying in the chat, I still think Jan outperforms Bara even considering that. All other things being equal. It's not that Bara can't win, it's just, I think Jan has an important reach advantage. And it's not just the stabs, it's the cuts as well. And the HP helps him mix it up a little bit. So, he's got a lot of tools. Oh, the trick shot seems to counter that pretty well off of the parry. I haven't tried that before. It's pretty cool. Then again, I don't fight Yazlik very much. Yeah, maybe you should have stuck with Jan. Yeah, so people are saying, I think Bara does tend to have a little bit of an advantage as far as raw damage and pressure. I think Yazlik can still be a challenge though if he's used properly. That's why I didn't think it was a bad pick, but maybe for Venator it wasn't the pick, if that makes sense. I don't blame him for wanting to try something new though. Happens to the best of us. GG. Still, that was that first round Venator, that was fantastic. So, really well fought. And there's not much time to rest. Because I gotta fight Plebeian next. That flag you didn't get when you were 6'3"? Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. It was a great fight overall, though. Yeah, your tilt's gotta make you stronger. If you're gonna feel it at all. I know that sounds cheesy, but that's how I like to handle it. Just get laser focused. Because you can't let that happen again, you know? That's kind of my mentality. Of course, I'm human, though. Like, anybody can succumb to tilt under the wrong circumstances, so. That's not to say I'm immune to it, but there's just some people who handle it that way. Okay, plebeian. We'll start this on the left, and I'll be on the right. Can't tilt mid-set. Yeah, mid-set is definitely the worst time. Because if you let it get to you, it just becomes physically harder to win and to focus. And that's true for a lot of things. Nice, yeah, I deserve that. Nice. Oh shit, yeah, I gotta stop that. It's just gonna become a grappling match. A fight with swords, not a sword fight. At that point. Oh shit. Oh, nice double. Nice, nice. Ooh, you want to grab again, do you? Alright, I'm gonna grab you. And I'm gonna grab you again. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna grab you. Oh my goodness, the mind games. I'm so cruel. I think that was the time for you to grab me, but that was a stressful exchange. Alright, GG. Wolves Baseball, this is Hellish Quart. I think some people told you that. We have a Discord, so uh, if you want to join us for these tournaments, even if you don't have the game, you can just join our Discord for some duels. You can do the matchmaking with us, or you can join the tournaments that we do weekly. As far as longsword advantage against the saber, not always. The reach advantage isn't as great as you think, because with a saber you can extend your arm out and you can reach out, whereas the longsword is not a great sword. It's still a sword that you can wear, so the reach advantage isn't so. It's not as drastic as a spear versus a sword, for example, where a spear just utterly dominates. And sometimes the saber actually can outreach the longsword in under the right conditions. But yeah, generally longsword does have range. As far as rapier, foil, yeah, those are definitely really effective, especially for the duel. But I'd also say sabers evolve for the battlefield, so it's not it's not like spears versus sword where the spear always wins. I'd say saber can definitely defeat thrust-centric weapons, longsword, those types of things. But definitely an advantage for sure in a duel. But in a fight, in like a chaotic fight, it can change. So plebeian was dying, yeah. Yeah, it was funny too because I wanted to mix it up. So I'd be like, I'm gonna grab you. And then I actually was gonna grab you. And then the second time I did something different. And it is powerful though. I will admit that. I just had to try it once. Once or twice. And honestly, grabs are very psychological even if you're not announcing that you're gonna do it. Because your opponent's now gotta account for that, just that your opponent's not afraid to grab you. So there's definitely an element of that. War, because they're broader, yeah, sabers. Even in places where they liked rapiers a lot, they often switched to broadswords in times of war. And sabers as well, so. They're also very good cavalry weapons. Anyway, I'll be fighting Oak. And Oak, you take the left side, of course, since you won all of your fights. Oak just has to beat me in one series, and then he wins the whole tournament. If I'm able to beat him twice, though, in two series, that is, I will be able to win the tournament. So this is really exciting. I'm sure Oak is not surprised that I'm switching to Yon with such high stakes. But sometimes this doesn't go super well for me, so we'll see. Yeah, that's the other thing. Plebeian was laughing his ass off earlier, so maybe that was to my favor as well. Although I was laughing as well, but that's the other problem with mind games is they can make your opponent just die in a fit of laughter and then you win. That's a good point. I should try that on chess.com, just announce every move that I'm gonna do. Like beforehand or something. Or actually, in a game like Pokemon that's turn-based, that works especially well for fun mind games. Club got some points though, yeah, definitely. Third place is still a very good place to be, as far as that goes. Okay. It's working out well so far, but when you fight Oak so much, he tends to make some kind of adjustment, so. Gotta be super careful. The stab in the back Y, back in the stab is just nasty though. I'm sorry, I really apologize for that, Oak. Yeah. I honestly forget the corkscrew. I think that low thrust is really Laszlo's problem in this matchup. The cork takes a little bit more skill to land. It's dangerous, but it's not quite as spammable in this matchup. Nice. I think in other matchups the cork is better though. Not necessarily better than the low stab, but it works better. That's what I mean by that. Yeah, I hear you, Info, don't worry. I think Jan has just an important reach advantage regardless of the stabs, too. It's a lot of things together that make Laszlo struggle. But yeah, the stabs are pretty lethal. There's no question about that. I've been calling for Jan nerfs too, trust me. Especially to the cancelability of some of the attacks. That's really the main thing I have an issue with. But nice, Oak. Stop reading the chat while playing. that's a win for me. So I believe we keep the sides. Let me just report the score quickly. And so this one's for all the marbles. We keep the same sides. Just pick your character. And whoever wins, wins. This best of 3. Ooh, nice. The plot thickens. Let's switch sides. Still don't really see a reason to switch, so. Oh no, Oak takes it. Nice. That was so close though. I think the combo that I chose there was wrong. I think I needed a YX and that might have been a double. But yeah, fair play to Oak. Definitely got the kill, well deserved. GG. That is, yeah. It was stressful for me as well, trust me, because you're so damn good at the game. But yeah, that was fantastic. Curse lifted. All right, let's end the tournament then, and I'll show you guys the standings. So Oak got first, of course. I got second place. Plebeian got third. Venator got fourth, which was what Venator was hoping wouldn't happen, but it is what it is. Maestro fifth, Pekala fifth, and Mike and Lansknecht got seventh, and Jihadi and Info got ninth. Fantastic tournament, guys. Glad the turnout was so good too. 10 is pretty solid for a tournament like this, so appreciate it. And yeah, there were some intense fights there that could easily be Hall of Fame material, so yeah, I don't have much else to say other than I'm exhausted from all these fights. I had some really tough ones, whether it was with Maestro or Venator, Plebeian, Oak. All of you guys put on quite a show, and Oak deservedly takes it. Anyway, with that, I'll end the stream there, guys, and I'll see you next time.